Every person that comes out of this school that has ever had any part of coastal studies, whether it be turtles, the oyster reef, the hatchery, you'll be able to tell your kid one day, hey, when I went to school, I got to take 30 minutes out of my day and go play with fish, or help grow fish, or help grow oysters. Hatchery is something that's always been very important to me ever since I was in middle school. I love being around the water, playing with fish, and this was an opportunity that I got to take.
The Hatchery program is a program where the students get to learn about having a clean estuary system, and we really learn about the importance of having a healthy environment. So we have 3 different systems in the hatchery. We have one system where we have smaller fish, one where we have our bigger fish, and then we have a polyculture system, which is where we have the fish, and then that fish waste goes into the shrimp tank, and the shrimp tank goes into the polyculture system, which is where we have the Spartina grass growing. Since middle school, the 7th and 8th grade, the hatchery has been implemented into our science class, so it's always been a really good incentive for all the kids.
The whole purpose for me of this is to teach them how important it is to keep your environment clean and sustainable. And by having the hatchery, it's in no way trying to teach children to be fish farmers. It's teaching them that if you have a balanced ecosystem, then you have happy organisms that live there. And if we want our students to be happy when they get older, they have to learn how to keep things in balance so that their environment can be sustainable. So by giving them hands-on activities, which makes them solve problems while they're working in the hatchery or out on the oyster reef, they're learning how to be problem solvers and work as a team. And I think if they learn those skills in middle school and high school, then hopefully as adults, they can apply those same skills when they're trying to resolve some of the problems that they're going to face environmentally.
This is what Hatteras Island is. We are a commercial and sport fishing industry. And the importance of the hatchery is to kind of help go along with that. We take our fish that we might grow in here and give them to our foods class, where they can learn to cook them.
In the hatchery, we get to go outside. We build oyster reefs, and we have a pier out back, and that was always a good incentive for kids to want to go outside.
That's where I become more involved. I'm a person that's going to throw on a mask and a snorkel, and you get to see an actual oyster. It's about the size of your palm with a little baby spat, about the size of your fingernail, sitting there growing.
Another program that we do to reinforce the coastal studies theme here at Cape Hatteras is the turtle necropsy program.
Cold stun turtles are turtles who didn't make it to the Gulf Stream in time, so when the temperature drops, they freeze and they wash up on shore, and so we go out to the sound, we pick them up, and we rehabilitate the alive turtles, and the ones who did not make it, we freeze and we necropsy them in biology class.
So we're training the younger kids. They're the ones that are doing the paperwork for us, and then my advanced biology kids and the environmental kids are the ones that are actually doing the dissections. So it just kind of encompasses our whole coastal studies theme in, you know, looking at endangered species, how are we impacting them.
I think it's to teach kids about the importance of keeping our estuary clean. A lot of kids, their parents are commercial fishermen or they fish in the summer, and I think sometimes people don't realize how important that is.
Every other school, they get to go to school for a basic day of class. I know that at some point in time in my day, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to check on something that means a lot to me.
The United States Geological Survey estimates that there's several million earthquakes a year on Earth, and there's approximately 50 a day that register 2.5 or greater on the Richter scale. So the Earth is constantly moving, whether we're aware of it or not. And it's my hope that through this sculpture that people consider the macro and micro processes through which we interact with the world and the earth on a daily basis. My name's Christina Lorena Weisner, and I'm a sculptor, and I teach in the Department of Humanities and Fine Arts at the College of the Albemarle. So as an artist, I work with found objects, specifically scientific instrumentation. I'm interested in objects for what they say about our desires as human beings, so what we want to know about the world. I found these ocean bottom seismometers at a surplus facility, one stop away from the landfill, essentially. When I found these objects, they had oil all over them, and I had to wash them off and clean them and scrub them down, and as I was doing that, they were clinking together, and they were making these beautiful tones, sort of like gongs in the Buddhist tradition or church bells in the Christian faith. And I thought, you know, there's something really beautiful about these tones that these objects are creating. And so at that point, I decided that I would like for it to be a sound piece. The sculpture consists of 9 glass hemispheres which sit atop plexiglass cubes which are engineered to resonate sound, with arms built to strike the hemispheres when activated by real-time seismic activity based on the U.S. Geological Survey's website.
Well, within the sculpture is some 200 feet of wiring that goes through all the tubes to connect up the PC of the sculpture that's monitoring the internet and getting the actual data feed from the U.S. Geological Survey. Another program picks up this data and changes it into an audio tone that corresponds to each one of the Richter scale levels. This little control computer then takes the information to the tone, and depending on which tone it is, which represents the magnitude of the earthquake that's happening on Earth, it takes that tone and then activates a little solenoid coil that's out at each one of the actual found bowl objects in Christina's sculpture. For instance, a magnitude 4 earthquake coming in would actually ring bells 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think it does it again, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you heard 4 bells repeat, that would be a magnitude 4 earthquake coming in.
Christina approached us to make an arm for her sculpture. So it started out with a sketch of her idea of what she wanted, and then we went to another campus where we have a computerized water jet cutter. Then it's just a matter of setting a piece of metal up and cutting all the parts out.
There's an actual working seismometer that was left in one of the hemispheres that I found. So as you walk around the sculpture, you can literally see your footsteps on a seismograph. And then on the other screen, there's an image of the U.S. Geological Survey's website, their screen where it shows the Earth, and it's showing any current seismic activity all over the world. And so you can literally create this comparison between your body and the movement of the Earth simultaneously. It's been wonderful having the sculpture here at the College of the Albemarle Professional Arts Building Gallery. I enjoy that in this location they're overlooking the Pamlico Sound and still have this connection to the water. It's been really nice to see the sculpture finally take form and come together after working on it for about 2 years. And we'll be packing it up here in this space. However, the show is scheduled to travel to different spaces in North Carolina and perhaps also nationally.
My name is Mike Peeler, and I'm the interim director here at Coastal Studies Institute, and we're excited to have our open house today. It's our chance to welcome the general public in and welcome back friends of the Institute and have them walk around and on the self-guided tour introduce themselves to all the things we have going on. We're fortunate to have a lot of really interesting projects going on, ranging from water quality to maritime archaeology to coastal dynamics, looking at how sand moves along beaches and in estuaries. And in all of our work, what we do is do a bunch of science and figure out how a system might be working, how a natural system is working, and then more often than not, we relate it to what is the implication of that finding for people.
We really like the public to come and see what we do because the Coastal Studies Institute is dedicated to not just doing the stuff that academics normally do within the university context. We like to see how we're teaching their students, whether it's at undergraduate or graduate level, but also how the research we're doing here is very applied. And the Pappy's Lane project is a good example of where the academics and the students are doing work directly relevant to the development of infrastructure for the people of North Carolina.
Today, we're here focusing on K-12 programs that are offered at the Coastal Studies Institute and summer camps. So we have some activities that relate to what our scientists do upstairs on the 3rd floor, and we're hoping to bring some students in, some younger kids in, and get them interested in science by doing these hands-on activities.
I don't think people understand that we are here to help them. We're scientists at heart. Right? We love to collect data. We're collecting data to understand our coast. But the fact is there are so many people that live and visit the coast, and the science that we collect is critical for them to continue to live and enjoy the coast. And so what we're trying to do is demonstrate how our science relates to what they do on a day-to-day basis.
The people who attend range from people who've never been here to longtime collaborators, people who've been involved with Coastal Studies Institute since the beginning almost 15 years ago. So it's a big range of audiences, and we find that the activities we have set up really accommodate everyone who has no knowledge of what we do to people who know exactly what we do, from very young children through people who are a lot later in life and still interested in learning more. It is an opportunity because we are a fairly prominent fixture. You see our building. A lot of people don't know what we do, and it's an interesting time to explain to people the breadth and depth of what marine science is and what research goes on here, both in natural science, so biology, chemistry, physics, but also in social science, so economics and cultural things, and trying to understand how all of those pieces fit together.